Hey guys, this is Tuddles from Easy Life, and today I'm gonna review the Balvenie Caribbean Cask Scotch. As you guys probably already know, Scotch is a whiskey made from butterscotch. Now usually they put a bunch of malt milkshakes with the rest of the juice. However, with a single malt Scotch whiskey, they're only gonna put one malt shake in there. It's not gonna remind you as much of the 50s per se, but that's actually a good thing. The heyday for Scotch was not in the 50s. I would argue that the heyday for Scotch is yet to come. I'm estimating it will be sometime in the 2020s, coming up very soon. The Balvenie was also extra matured in rum casks. Now, rum is made famous by the pirates who used to drink rum before they went and raped and murdered others, which is not a good thing to do. However, if you're worried about the ethics of this particular Scotch, don't be concerned. As it turns out, most modern pirates actually prefer vodka and very weak beer. The Balvenie distillery has been owned by the same independent family company for 5 generations. Nowhere else will you find a distillery that still grows its own barley, that stills malts in its traditional floor, maltings, that still has coopers to tend the casks and a coppersmith to tend the stills. I mean, what we're getting here is a lot of the past. We're getting those terrible pirates. We're getting those old-timey coppersmiths. We're getting the cooper, and it still grows its own barley. They have had this in their family for 5 generations because they are growing their own. They're growing their own children and letting them take over the business. But they're growing their own barley. It hasn't been easy for them. They're struggling to do this. Maybe they're seeing doctors for fertility. Maybe some of them who don't want to reproduce are reproducing anyway. Maybe some of them are asexuals. I know that some of my friends are asexuals, and it can be very uncomfortable to have to reproduce just for the family business. This shows a lot of commitment, and I respect them for that. You're gonna wanna sniff that cork immediately. This was not what I was expecting from the cork, but I think it's best that we pour it into our coffee mug before we give it any more sniffs. Okay, so there's a tightrope walker, and the tightrope walker has a sword. And sure enough, his family is below cheering him on. Oh, but his wife's not there. Okay, so I hate to bring the mood down, but apparently his wife passed away sometime before bottling the whiskey. So let's take a moment of silence for her. Her name is not something I know because you can't really tell that from smelling a whiskey, but let's take a moment of silence for her. Okay, let's give it a taste. Oh, okay. This is a gentle boat ride. We're actually not getting away from the tightrope walker. It turns out, as the night came and as he cooled down and climbed down from his tightrope, sword in hand, he decided to go for a boat ride. Now he's on the boat with his 2 daughters, his son, his dog Pippi, and the family butler. The family butler is very old, so they're trying to keep it down. I'm gonna try to keep it down too. Not only because of the butler, but again, because his wife just passed away recently. You can see a lot of fish right underneath the water. Some of these fish are bearing teeth, and that is a very rude thing to do considering the circumstances. Luckily, the tightrope walker hasn't noticed, because if he had his sword handy, I'm sure he would pierce their flesh. Tonight, the moon is green, and it's green because it is envious of the familial connections taking place in the little boat. Now, up to this point, it's been a bit solemn, and it's been breaking my heart a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to cry because that would be unprofessional, but I just want you to know I would cry if I weren't being professional. Oh, okay. So it's turning into water. You may have heard of the Jesus story, the Jesus miracle, in which he turned water into whiskey for his cousin. In this case, the whiskey is turning into water. There's a little leak in the boat. It is solemn in flavor as well as feeling and story. The thing you need to keep in mind is you don't want to drink this particular scotch unless you're ready to have a heart-to-heart with this family. So if you're not a family man, if you're not a family woman, if you are a sporting man or a sporting woman, this scotch is not for you. I was a sporting man, but I've recently decided to calm down for my health because I'm getting older, and for males getting older, heart failure is sometimes an option. I have cats now, so that way if something goes wrong, they can alert the neighbors. It is a good scotch, but it's not gonna be for everyone due to its sensitive nature. I'm gonna give the Balvenie Caribbean Cask Scotch a 6.5 out of 10. I appreciate you guys sticking around through this. I realize it was a bit emotional, and I realize that you probably felt uncomfortable when I almost cried. That's okay. I'm actually a very strong person, and I don't feel bad about it, so you shouldn't feel bad either. I wanted to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and feel free to comment below. A, if you have any questions for me, I am an expert in whiskey and other things. And B, if you just want to give your condolences to this family, it would be the right thing to do. So if you're watching this and you decide you're not going to give any condolences, that's on you. I won't judge you, but please send your condolences, all right? Anyway, I'm gonna have to go here. Thanks, guys. See you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.